We begin tonight with developing news. A Hinsdale police sergeant remains hospitalized with serious injuries after a shooting that left the suspect dead and the police chief wounded. Thanks for joining us for Western Mass News at 6 on this Thursday. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Amanda Martin Ryan. Western Mass News reporter Matt Price has been on top of this story since the very beginning. He's live from Hinsdale tonight with the latest for us. So Matt, what'd you learn today?
Well, Amanda and Chris, we've spoken to several people today in this community. They are just floored by this incident, a Wednesday morning shooting that left 2 Hinsdale police officers injured and a male suspect dead.
It's pretty rare for Hinsdale, especially these small towns, for stuff to happen like that.
Shock spreading across parts of Berkshire County. This after an officer-involved shooting took place on off South Street, not too far from the Hinsdale Police Department and town offices on Wednesday morning. Among those surprised and saddened, friends Jacob Williams and Stephen Medina.
This whole road was packed. There was cars from the end to down. They were fitting side to side. This whole thing was filled. It was crazy.
According to the Berkshire District Attorney's Office, the FBI's National Threat Operations Center notified the Dalton Command Center about a man on Tuesday, saying that person placed a call making claims, which sparked mental health concerns. On Wednesday, after about 30 minutes of talking with the man, police felt it was necessary to bring him into custody. There was a struggle as officers were trying to restrain him. That's when the gun the suspect was holding went off. The DA's office says Hinsdale Sergeant Dominic Krupe was shot in the hand and Hinsdale Police Chief Sean Boyne was hit in the chest. Luckily, the chief was wearing a bulletproof vest. The DA's office says a third officer fired his weapon, accidentally hitting Sergeant Krupe in the elbow before shooting the suspect. That suspect dying from his injuries Wednesday afternoon at Berkshire Medical Center. Both Sergeant Krupe and Chief Boyne were also taken to Berkshire Medical. Boyne was released on Wednesday and is currently recovering, while Krupe has serious injuries and was transported to Albany Medical Center in New York for treatment. Williams and Medina telling Western Mass News they know Sergeant Krupe. Williams visibly frustrated about what unfolded.
I was angry, to be honest. I was very angry. Me and him, we've had a few conversations, just a few times. He's a very good cop, very, very well respected. But I was more angry and upset than anything and hoping he was okay because, to be honest, if I was around here, I mean, like I said, it's a small community. I don't know, it just sucks.
Medina says Sergeant Krupe means a lot to him and the community.
I've talked to Dom Krupe many times. One time my dad ended up breaking his leg, and Krupe actually came into my home, picked him up, and walked him out to the ambulance by himself.
We spoke with neighbors who live on opposite sides of the home where this shooting took place. They say in all their years of living in this town, they have never seen or heard of anything like this happening. Town Administrator Robert Graves telling us off camera this is an unfortunate incident, while also sending his heartfelt best wishes to the suspect's family as well as the injured officers.
I hope Dom gets better soon, and we definitely need him back. I mean, this town, even if we were to replace him, wouldn't be the same. We definitely need him back.
The officer's injuries are considered non-life-threatening, and the suspect has not yet been identified. However, the Berkshire District Attorney's Office, is planning to address the situation further with even more details during a press conference that is scheduled for noon tomorrow. So stick with us both on air and online as we continue to follow the latest. For now, reporting live from Hinsdale here in Berkshire County, Matt Price, Western Mass News.